Welcome to the Wednesday edition of The Box Seat. I'm Mark Olmos and I'll be taking you through this 8-race card we have for you this coming Wednesday. Now, we'll have a look at the conditions, and the rail's out 18 metres with the cutaway in play, 24 degrees, sunny. We're racing on a good surface and we're hoping to tip you into some more winners after a great day on Saturday. Let's get into it. Race number 1, the Multicultural Race Day, this Saturday plate, over 1,200 metres for the 2-year-olds. Now we've got quite a competitive field here. We'll go straight to the replay of LEITFADEN winning 2 starts ago.
Corner, Johnny's Rainbow gets the inside run, and they've kicked away, well away from the others. At the 200-metre mark, DOLUSKY tackled in the centre by LEITFADEN. LEITFADEN and DOLUSKY have come away from unmarked bills. On the outside, LEITFADEN gets the head in front, does too well, and LEITFADEN for Pike beat home DOLUSKY. An
impressive run on that occasion. DOLUSKY led them up, and LEITFADEN just stalked that runner and went past it in the straight. Now, out of that race was unmarked bills, the number 7 in this race. It was a super run on that occasion as well, being caught out 3 wide and grinding to the line pretty well. With any bit of cover, probably should have won that race. Has had a break, a little break between runs, a few weeks, probably about 3 weeks between runs, and it will appreciate that little gap in races. Now, we've also got in the race number 1, Block and Tackle, who was impressive in winning a 2-year-old maiden at Bunbury last start, leading all the way. Now, on that occasion, I think the Bunbury surface was definitely favouring the leaders on that day, but can still put in a good performance. From barrier 8, we'll have to probably go back, or we'll put some good speed into the race. It'll be interesting to see what they do. LEITFADEN will more than likely posse up quite close in the first half of the field, but there still looks to be some good speed. In the race, we've also got number 4, Variation, who comes out of that Block and Tackle race and was good in running on, one of the only runners in that race to make up reasonable ground. Now we'll go straight into the selections. I've got number 7 on top, Marked Bills. I just think it finds a lovely spot from barrier 3, the filly by Denman, on top of 2, LEITFADEN, 1, Block and Tackle, and 4, Variation. Race 2 of the card is the Perth Racing TV Maiden, over 1,400 metres for the 3-year-olds. A very competitive field here with a couple of reasonable form lines, the main ones being behind Salty and Chaya. The race speed looks okay, but we'll go straight into the replay of Checkers now. This run was 3 starts ago from Checkers and was running on superbly at 60 to 1.
Behind them, Lawrenson, and then at the head of the others by Decree, who's under great pressure. Down the outside, starting to run on is Don't Let Tomo go inside the 200-metre mark, though an Express Boy eventually worked his way to the lead. Down the outside, What Did You Do? Don't Let Tomo go, and look at High T. High T right over the outside of the field, goes up with Checkers, and High T has...
As I mentioned, ran on at 60 to 1 from well back in the field. It didn't look to be travelling in the race, but got home very nicely under some good riding by Stephen PARNHAM. High T was just too good on that occasion, went past it and it followed it. Was a day to run on that occasion, but since that run has run really well behind Chaya and Ruling Angel, making up good ground from back. From barrier 1 though, on this occasion, we'll see them posse up much closer, more than likely behind the leader, either 1 back the fence or 2 back the fence. So should get a very cushy run in transit, this gelding by Stratum. The number 1 we've got, What Did You Do, has been racing very well, and as me and Adam have mentioned in the past, this horse is much better than its record says. 12 starts, 0 wins and 1 placing. It's a much better horse than that, and it finds its race today from barrier 2 with Brad Parnham aboard for Neville Parnham. I think can definitely run a race at, will be reasonably short odds. I wouldn't take anything under the $5 mark, but will definitely be running on in the end. We've also got in the race RHINO Buster from the David Harrison yard. Ben Patterson takes the ride. Now Ben Patterson returns after a 20-odd day suspension, so welcome back, Ben, and it'll be good to see you back in the saddle, mate. Last start was okay, but had to steady at the 900-metre mark. It did a little bit wrong that occasion at Bunbury. 2 starts ago at Pinjarra was good behind Secret Charge when running on from the back, and again, depending on how the track's playing with the 18-metre rail out, you could see this galloper running on from the back. We've also got in the race ONAPARA from the Keith Mifflin stable, jockey William Pike stays aboard. Now, this galloper was good behind Chaya last start. It was fancied in the market that day, but it looks like a grinding type. So from barrier 6, I'm expecting them to go forward and sit in the first half of the field. Now, onto the selections. I've got the 1 on top, WATIJADOO. It'll just get a really nice run in behind the leaders. From 8, ONAPARA, 2, Checkers, and 3, RHINO Buster. Race 3, the Belmont Park, tickets from $5, handicap over 1,200 metres for the 3-year-olds. Now, this race includes 2 first starters, one first starter now with the scratching of Spanish Success, but number 6, Noble Savage, will be the only first starter in the race. Looks a very good race, and there's a bit of form around a smart filly in Culverin who we saw contest the WA Oaks and the WATC Derby. There's also form behind Jester Jingle, who has since won, but we'll go straight into the replay of ROYALIC winning up the straight at Pinjarra last start.
Hot pot ROYALIC, August Night directly inside of him. Bollywood Blitz against the outside rail. First affair, Rhino's lad behind them as he goes to work on ROYALIC to come at Rosinski with 100 left to go, and ROYALIC now quickly claims Rosinski, put pay to him, and he's going to come away with an effortless victory. ROYALIC, he pricked his ears up.
Now this $240,000 Magic Millions Gold Coast purchase, ROYALIC, has been racing super of late. It's strung 3 wins in a row and can definitely make it 4. Over from the east, it didn't show much over east when with Mark Riley, but since coming over here has absolutely thrived in the west and can definitely make it 4 in a row on this occasion. Carries 59 kilos with the claim of Aaron Mitchell, and he's riding in outstanding form as well as Aaron Mitchell after a double on Saturday. He's one to watch out for the future, but I definitely think ROYALIC, after being scratched on Saturday for something easier, it looks right in this race from the Daniel Morton yard. We've also got number 2, Famous Someday. Now, I think this galloper looks to get a better run in transit. It carries the 55 kilos here and is first up after a nice trial behind Lucky Gray. Its most recent race start was behind Culverin, who, as I mentioned, has gone on to do some great things in some much tougher races, so is definitely one to watch. Number 3, Salty, $110,000 purchase from the English Premier Sales. Should be right in this as well, coming off a Bunbury maiden win and 2 starts ago in another maiden. Ran on quite nicely from last, so should definitely be in the race. The only query about number 1 ROYALIC and number 2 Famous Someday is their wide barriers, but there looks to be enough speed in this race where they can get back and run on. And I'm going with number 2 Famous Someday on top of 1 ROYALIC, 3 Salty and 6 Noble Savage. Race number 4, the perthracing.com.au handicap over 1,000 metres for the 2-year-olds and up. Now, this is for horses that have not won a metro race in the last 12 months. We'll go straight into the replay horse, which is Fast Spring, winning last start at Bunbury.
From the grey Ladybird Walton, now trying to angle into the clear. Fast Spring at the 250. Disco RIFFIC for the moment, just in front, joined by the stablemate Dosh Reich, Silver Trace, Little Punga. His Play for Love coming down the outside though with a run, and further back Stage Girl with less than 100 to go. Little Punga, Play for Love, fighting back Disco RIFFIC. Fast Spring I think ends at...
Great performance last start from Fast Spring. Clint Johnston Border, he's one of the better apprentices in the country, I'd have to say. He's riding in outstanding form, and on this occasion was no exception. You saw him he was on the fence and he just pulled out at the right time, and there was a wall of horses and he really punched this horse through, and the horse wanted to take the gap as well. So didn't win by a big margin, but was a really, really impressive win on that occasion by this mare, mares in form, they seem to go pretty well, but the only knock I have on this mare is that she hasn't placed in 3 goes at the track, but finds her race, and with 52 kilos should be right in this. We also have the Roman Fighter from the Ben Pearce yard. Now, one of 2 Ben Pearce runners for the day. He looks to have a buckshot fly later on in the day. He looks to have a good hold in this race. The tongue tie goes on this galloper. Had to steady last start and got itself into a bit of bother when running 5th at Pinjarra. But the start before that, when beating Roger the Roman by a head, was a very, very smart performance. Has won at the track and the distance, so big plus. Paul Harvey rides as well. 58.5 kilos from barrier 2. We'll see this galloper just slot in behind the speed and should be there right in the finish. Also have number 1 Marchand, who's dropping significantly in class. Does carry the 57.5 with the claim of Sarah Bonner, who is also riding well. the young apprentice. But forgive last start when this galloper just went too hard out in front, beaten by Born Supremacy, who we know is an outstanding run-on horse and has since franked the form. Start before that was only half a length off Auntie Zelma. Now this galloper can be right in the mix from the Robert and Todd Harvey stable, who also had Tradesman win on Saturday. The stable seemed to be going well and in good spirits. Number 9, Nardini, a very interesting runner. Forget last start when it was beaten 6.5 lengths by Castle Retreat. Vet report revealed no abnormalities, but I'm willing to forgive that run first up, and it could be one at odds as the performance wasn't as good as we thought. On to the selections now. I've got number 7 on top. Fast Spring from 3, Roman Fighter, 1, Marchand, and 9, Nardini.